Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of The Committee Reads. I am your host KWCs, and with me today I have Bacon, Alex, Nagoda, and Ditto. And today we will be going over match 148, Gorosaurus vs. Destoroyah by Christian Celeber. What are these damn things? Commander Carl Nelson fired his machine gun again as he and his crew fell back, trying to escape from the creatures that advanced. I don't know, but they're as tough as nails, Lieutenant Commander Nomura spat, firing his own gun in the same direction. Just keep Susan safe. Excuse me, I'm not some little girl that needs protection, Susan Watson
Okay,
snapped.
Karen.
Susan Watson snapped.
Just use your healing crystals.
Snapped, firing a handgun she had stolen from one of her fallen comrades. I am perfectly duck!
Quack!
The three of them dove to the ground in various directions as a bolt of purple energy pierced the air. Had they been even a fraction of a second later, they would have been cleanly sliced in half by the blast. The trio quickly regrouped, keeping their guns trained on the beasts. We have to get to the raft, Nelson said as they backed away. The ship is our only chance. Look out! Susan cried. Pass.
Another of the hideous creatures emerged from the brush, flexing its jaws as it approached the trio. Another member of the group shot the monster and opened fire with his rifle, but the beast simply bent and opened its mouth, sending out a secondary set of jaws flying out and impaling the man's face. Susan cried out in horror as the man's body collapsed to the jungle. Wait, did one of them just die?
Yeah.
Murder!
I think it might have been someone else.
Unfortunately, her scream gained the monster's attention. More and more of the creature. When suddenly a roar filled the air. The monsters all stopped and looked. What had caused such noise?
Nagoda, are you there?
Nagoda keeps dying.
Yeah, you kind of keep falling out. You literally have to restart from the monsters all stopped and looked up because I can't hear you. I cannot hear you.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I just switched to my computer.
Okay.
Where did you have me leave off at?
Monsters all stopped and looked up. See what had caused such a noise.
Okay. The monsters all stopped and looked up, trying to see what had caused such a noise. The ground shook. The trees crashed. The trees crashing to the ground could be heard. Suddenly, a gigantic reptilian form stepped out of the tree line, roaring at the disturbance it sensed crawling through the jungle. Gorosaurus sensed the disturbance in the forest. As he looked down, his predatory senses zeroing in on the creatures below.
Quick, let's go.
Nomura said. The group quickly got to their feet and headed for the beach. Pass.
Immediately forgetting about their human prey, the spiky creature began to march towards Gorosaurus, shrieking as they advanced. They quickly realized the error of their race, however, as his dinosaur began to kick and stomp, crushing several of them underfoot. Winner, Gorosaurus.
You're right.
Disappearing in a cloud of mist, the beasts were suddenly gone. Gorosaurus looked down, confused. Just then, he found himself surrounded. The monsters were back, and this time, they were as tall as the dinosaur's knees. Gorosaurus turned around quickly as he attempted to keep an eye on them, which was slightly easier to do as there were only 4 of them now. One was taken out almost immediately by an almost casual swing of Gorosaurus' tail as he turned around to look at another one. Wow, what a bitch. The second was taken out by a good kick, causing it to implode on itself. Wow, another bitch. The third one attempted to attack the reptilian head-on. It leaned too late with a costly mistake that was as Gorosaurus bent down and ripped off its head with its jaws. Another bitch down! Gorosaurus turned to look at the fourth and final creature, but before he could make a move, the shelled creature dissolved into another cloud of mist. Looking around, he found the bodies of the others he killed had disappeared as well. The dinosaur narrowed his eyes. The creatures may have left his line of sight, but he could still sense them. Their scent was strong. With a shriek and flash of light, another of the monsters appeared in front of him, and this time was as large as Gorosaurus himself. Gorosaurus reared back in surprise, but this creature did not give the predator another chance to attack. Swinging his newly formed tentacles, it slammed against the dinosaur's head, sending Gorosaurus crashing to the ground. Look what happened! He quickly returned to his feet and roared a challenge at the crustaceous beast. Unwilling to retreat, reaching up, Gorosaurus snatched one of the tentacles in his jaw, shaking his head back and forth. His teeth began to sink into and shred the armored flesh, causing the creature to scream in pain as its limb spilled yellow blood. Turning its head to face the reptile, the monster spat out a beam of violet energy, strafing Gorosaurus' leg. The dinosaur immediately released his toothy grip and staggered back, letting out a roar as he felt his skin burn. The hideous beast lunged forward, its body slamming Gorosaurus and sending him once again to the ground. And is that a pass?
One more.
Okay. Let's see.
Returning to his feet once again.
Yeah. Returned to his feet once again, Gorosaurus growled in fury as the yellow-eyed monstrosity before him. The creature advanced, ready to attack with its tentacles once again, but this time Gorosaurus was ready for it. As soon as the beast was within reach, the reptile leaped up onto his tail and lashed out his powerful legs. The blow was strong enough to send the creature skidding backward, the momentum causing it to tip over and crash to the ground. The beast staggered, straining its many limbs, but could not right itself. Gorosaurus roared victoriously, seeing his opponent helpless. Pass.
Unfortunately for Gorosaurus, the creature was not out of options, and it just disappeared, just as smaller forms had done. Gorosaurus stopped and stared at the spot where the creature had lain. He was frustrated, but he knew the beast was likely to reappear. Suddenly, something slammed into the back of Gorosaurus' head, knocking the oversized Allosaurus flat. Gorosaurus was eventually able to get back to his feet and scan the area, spotting his attack. His this time, but rather shape. And now it resembled some sort of air, screaming like a banshee that flew towards Gorosaurus. The dinosaur roared defiantly and advanced, but the creature wouldn't have it, spewing another blast of energy. The beam exploded against Gorosaurus' legs, as well as the ground, bringing the predator down once again. Another blast scorched Gorosaurus' side, eliciting a cry of pain, but just as Gorosaurus managed to get back to his feet, the creature flew past and wrapped its tail around his neck. Gorosaurus choked as the flying beast dragged him across the island, sending trees and boulders everywhere. Finally, the creature released its grip, sending Gorosaurus crashing into a nearby mountain. Gorosaurus struggled, dazed as he tried to pull himself back up. The flying monster grinned, knowing it had the reptile on the ropes. It flew in, ready for another attack. Just as it lowered its tail, ready to lasso around the dinosaur's throat, Gorosaurus lunged up, sinking his teeth into the creature's tail. His enemy trapped, Gorosaurus stood up and swung his head around, using his grip on the monster's tail to swing it around and slam into the mountain. The demonic thing cried out, stunned from the sudden blow. Gorosaurus immediately began to stomp and kick the beast, breaking off the horn it struck out of its forehead. When Gorosaurus brought his foot down next, it struck the ground, its intended target having disappeared into a cloud of mist. Gorosaurus turned around, quickly scanning the area. Ready for another attack, the mighty monster heaved deeply. He was tired and hurt. He wasn't sure if he would be able to survive another bout with the relentless creature. Another bolt of violet energy bounced off of Gorosaurus' back, searing his flesh and causing the dinosaur to cry out in agony. Wearily, the reptile turned to face his foe, who had returned to the stage previous to its flying form. The creature swung its tentacles up and down, bouncing them off Gorosaurus' snout, dazing the beast. The monster's grasping claws sliced at Gorosaurus' flesh. The evil creature knew the dinosaur was on its last legs, and decided to finish it up. Then and there, opening its mandibles, the hideous thing sent forth a secondary set of jaws, aimed directly between Gorosaurus' eyes. It was then that Gorosaurus' survival instincts kicked in. granting the reptilian warrior one final burst of energy. Adrenaline surging through his body, Gorosaurus opened his maw and bit down on the monster's tube-like jaws. Ew. The monster's eyes widened in surprise just as Gorosaurus tore the jaw from his mouth, sending yellow blood spewing everywhere. Gorosaurus wasn't done yet, reaching up and sinking his teeth into the nearest tentacle, shaking his head like a wild dog. Gorosaurus shredded the tentacle worse and worse, until he finally ripped the limb in half, sending the torn end crashing to the ground. The creature's head reared back, shrieking in agony. Rising up on his tail, Gorosaurus lashed out with a powerful kick, instantly crushing the creature's face in. Another kick shattered the abomination's skull, and sent it crashing backwards into a nearby mountain, covering it in an avalanche of rocks and dirt. And pass.
Yes.
At last, Gorosaurus let the effects of the fight sink in, and the mighty dinosaur was staggered in place for a moment, making sure that the creature would never return again. Nothing, no signs. He sniffed the air, and even then, he turned up nothing. Exhausted, burned, and bleeding, Gorosaurus was victorious, letting out a cry of triumph. The cry was answered by a terrifying shrek. Before the dinosaur even knew what was happening, a powerful beam of energy slammed into his side with enough power to level an entire city block. Even the might of Gorosaurus could not withstand such a blast, and instantly crumbled. Beneath its power, his charred body toppled to the ground. With a thunderous sound, a massive unholy beast descended from the sky and set foot on the island floor. His narrow yellow eyes glaring at the burnt remains of Gorosaurus, a sadistic smile crept over the creature's mouth. An abomination such as him was enough to bring Godzilla to his knees. A mere dinosaur never had a chance against the power of Destoroyah. Winner, the lame high-side monster. Yay.
I do have to say, like, when you think Gorosaurus versus Destoroyah, it almost the first instinct someone probably have would be, oh, Destoroyah's going to completely curb stomp him. But I think what I'll give the credit to this match is actually does a really good job, like, focusing more on the lesser forms of Destoroyah for Gorosaurus to fight. I think that's a really good way to sort of gauge what I could best describe as sort of like the, I guess, a tier system, if you will. I know that's just purely hypothetical, but, you know, friggin', like, you know, it's a nice way to have a tangle between Gorosaurus and Destoroyah feel completely believable by using those lesser forms. And you know what? Gorosaurus had the win there. If it were just against those, it would have been fine. But final form Destoroyah kind of had to come in at the last second and say, ha, no. Which I am a little mixed about. The ending I'm ultimately kind of mixed about, but I do feel everything that preceded it was a very solid Christian match. I think he does a good job at utilizing both monsters, and again, it is just really nice to have Destoroyah's lesser forms take over most of the match here. It was really nice, so yeah, I like it, just the ending just leaves me a little mixed. And that's just me. Bacon, what'd you think of it?
It had the white people in it.
Deep
From
voice.
the whitest Toho movie. And Kaiju X said, oh, you may not like Latitude Zero because that movie's also extremely white. No, that movie works.
Right. It had been a hot minute. I don't know. I got different vibes from those folks. But, yeah, looking back at King Kong Escapes now, it's like, wow, yeah, they're super white anyway.
Especially the lady.
Okay.
Drive me to Starbucks, Kong!
Yeah! King Kong. Anyway.
God, that's fucking annoying. I just hope we get the Japanese version so we don't have to hear that.
I'm pretty sure it's still there in that. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
The match itself was alright. It was cool that they used the Gorosaurus from that movie, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mondo Island, I don't really see being used that often.
Not really, no. Yeah.
So, I thought that was cool, and the fight with the aggregate forms of Destoroyah was cool. Gorosaurus would have won if it wasn't for final form, let's be real.
Yeah, pretty much.
But look what happened. Yeah, it's an alright match. It's there.
All right. Alex, what'd you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was a solid match. I enjoyed it. I think this is where Christian really improves, where he makes something really fun.
So, and then hopefully
Yeah, just a fun match.
And hopefully we'll see Christian actually get better from here, which I know there are
213.
Yeah, like 213. I think he peaked with 213, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So, yeah. Nagoda, what'd you think of what'd you think of 148?
He's eating, bro.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's eating.
I somehow completely missed that message. Forgive me.
He is enjoying a meal.
I will let him enjoy his meal in peace. As ditto, what'd you think of it?
Okay. Well, so these are the King Kong Escapes characters, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, that's neat. I don't think we get too much of these characters. It's usually just Doctor Who. Let's see. The match was pretty solid. Like, it was nice seeing Gorosaurus go through each transformation of Destoroyah, and I kind of agree with Kaiju X. The ending was like, like a psych. And I think it's kind of foreseen. Like, oh, he's probably going to go into his final form, and then sure enough, yeah, there it is, one shot Gorosaurus, which is like, yeah, all right, that's cool. I agree. Gorosaurus would have won if it wasn't for the final form, but overall, it was still a pretty fun read and a good way for Gorosaurus to like take on Destoroyah without pitting him up against the final form from the get-go.
Agreed.
The banner is pretty nice. I like how Gorosaurus is kind of looking at the aggregate. And yeah, that's really about it. It's a pretty good match.
Alright.
Although I would have liked some of the human characters towards the end, like giving commentary on the match, like at the end of it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh dang, good thing we got out of there, because we probably would have been screwed with that giant form or whatever.
All right. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, we don't get much of a conclusion with the humans here. They're just there.
Yeah, that is kind of a flaw.
Right. Yeah, that's actually fair. So should have wrapped it up.
Also, it's a little bit brutal. Like, Gorosaurus rips out the jaws of Destoroyah,
Second
and I think
jaw,
Destoroyah like rips into some dude's face, which is like, ew.
Yeah. So yeah, that's always great. Nagoda, I presume, is still eating, and I will leave him be with him eating his food in peace.
Manila's like, my girlfriend could kick your ass, Gorosaurus.
Dick blasted.
Destoroyah says that you're a bitch, Gorosaurus.
Look what happened.
What happened?
Anyway.
At least I got crushed by this thunder thighs.
Gosh darn it. Anyway. With that said, this has been match 1.
Oh wait,
he's here. Nagoda,
Yeah,
what'd you think?
I just finished eating. Okay, so we're still on the match, right?
Well, on 148, yes.
Yes.
Okay. This was really fun. You get to see Gorosaurus fighting through just about every stage of Destoroyah. You get. Okay, you get human characters, which is always fun, and we get Carl Nelson, which he isn't really used that much. Is this his only appearance?
It might be. I think it might be.
It probably is. No one else uses the King Kong Escapes people.
Yeah, because
It's sad. Considering most of the people who write these things are white, usually.
Damn.
Oh, man.
Anyways, really like how, even though he went through every stage of Destoroyah, Destoroyah just comes in and just knocks him out. Just immediately it destroys him at the end.
Yeah.
Also, Banner. Banner looks really good. You get to see Gorosaurus, and you get to see an aggregate in the banner. Usually, you don't really get to see the aggregates and stuff in the banner. It's always usually final form.
All right, agreed.
Bust.
Alright, that's it for me.
All right, cool. And with that,
Also, the duck.
the what?
Just that duck in there.
Oh,
Quack.
anyway.
That's not a duck, that's a pelican.
Anyway,
Why?
this has been match 148, and we'll see you guys next time for match 149. Till then, everyone.
Select.